rolling around 200 Marines backed with howitzers into northern Syria. The United States is shifting from working quietly behind the scenes in Syria's conflict, turning instead toward overt displays of U.S. force in an attempt to shape the fight. The latest deployment widens America's footprint in a highly toxic battlefield, with U.S. credibility and prestige on the line. It also risks drawing troops into a long and costly war with unpredictable outcomes. The Marines' deployment, intended to back local forces in the campaign against the Islamic State group, came just days after another intervention. Dozens of army troops, riding Stryker armored vehicles waving American flags, drove outside the Syrian town of Manbij in a mission aimed at keeping U.S. allies Turkey and Syrian Kurds from fighting each other and focused instead on the fight against IS. The latest dispatch brings the number of U.S. boots on the ground in Syria close to more than 700. The previous troops were quietly sent by the Obama administration to work with local allies against IS. Most of them were special forces and advisors, and none brought heavy weapons like artillery with them. But as the fight against IS gears up, so is the U.S. profile. After months of preparations, U.S.-backed Syrian forces are getting closer to launching an all-out assault on the Islamic State group's de facto capital, Raqqa, in northern Syria. The more robust presence could also reflect a freer hand given to the military by President Donald Trump, whose administration is drawing up plans for a Syria policy he has vowed will obliterate IS. But the Americans are stepping into a crowded space in northern Syria, where U.S.-backed Kurdish groups, Turkish and Russian troops, Syrian government forces, and Islamic State militants are all within firing range of one another. Mission creep. U.S. officials say the battle for Raqqa will look much like the fight in neighboring Iraq, where the United States has waged a heavy air campaign and deployed special forces at the front lines to back the Iraqi military, now in a fierce battle to retake the northern city of Mosul from IS. Over the past 2 years, the U.S.-backed international coalition has spent billions training and arming the Iraqi military. But Syria is not Iraq. In Syria, U.S. forces do not have a national military to partner with, unless Washington made a dramatic reversal and overtly partnered with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Though no decision has been formally announced, the U.S. is likely to partner with the Syrian Democratic Forces, which is dominated by Kurds, though it includes some Arab fighters and other ethnicities. The U.S.-backed group has proved to be the most effective fighting force against IS in Syria, moving in past months to isolate Raqqa and cut off supply lines. But it is still seen as ill-equipped for the difficult assault on militants entrenched in the city. That could bring pressure for a greater U.S. role, and a greater risk of confrontations with other players on the ground.